let's hear from Isabel Oakeshott. I think we've got it sorted out now. Talks International editor, who was here with me all the way through the night. She put a serious shift in. Was incredibly helpful during the time when we were just checking what was going on, and almost everything that you predicted was happening, Isabel, turned out to be happening, and it was happening even quicker than we knew.
I know, well, that's a relief, isn't it? Because we did sort of almost call a few things quite prematurely. I'd really like to spend a minute just dissecting that brilliant interview that you just did with Nigel Farage, because I think a lot of attention here in the UK is now going to turn to what does this mean for the UK? And Farage gave a very, very interesting insight into what he might be able to do behind the scenes. I thought it was very significant that he said he would be prepared to be as helpful as possible to Keir Starmer. This is a test for Sir Keir Starmer. Our Prime Minister now has to show whether he is a real grown-up or not. I have to say, I'm not optimistic, but at this point, a mature, non-partisan, non-petty political leader would say, well, look, here's the reality I'm faced with. You know, we've got this new president. It's a remarkable, astonishing victory. Even the left can't claim that this is somehow illegitimate. And there is one person in this country that has a line right into the heart of the new presidency. Nigel Farage is welcome in the heart of Donald Trump's inner circle and can literally pick up the phone to him. No one else in this country can do that. So is Sir Keir Starmer now going to use that for the benefit of the United Kingdom, or is he going to reject that offer because he's too petty? I know what I think he'll do, but I really, really hope I'm wrong about that, because there is now a wonderful opportunity for our country on so many fronts, whether it's trade, whether it's, as Nigel was referencing, the future of security, Diego Garcia, the Chagos Islands, all of that. There's a great opportunity for us here in the UK. Let's see if Sir Keir Starmer is big enough to take it.
Yes, I feel similarly to you, Isabel, that he will be too petty, but also he will be cowed a little bit by the people in his party who will probably sneer at him if they see any chance of him even seeking the help of Nigel Farage. Because one thing that we can say about the Labour government that's been in so far for whatever it is, 4 months, is that they're very dogmatic about their ideological principles, and what principles they are I'm not quite sure, but you know, they basically have made decisions before going into office and decided not to change them no matter what, and that's why they've become quite as unpopular as they have.
Well, let this victory, this astonishing victory of Donald Trump, be a stark warning to the Labour Party and the Labour leadership. Trump has just illustrated the total repudiation of the type of policies, indeed, that this Labour government is pursuing. Basically, the American people have been able to look at what happens in Britain if you put a bunch of raging socialists in charge. And, you know, they've made their verdict clear. And I think if Trump can illustrate just what can be done in terms of controlling borders, again, it's going to put this Labour government really on the spot here. And I think it's very exciting. I see poor Rory Stewart says he's heartbroken. This is a former Conservative MP, people. I think there are now huge opportunities to bring some new solutions, hopefully, in Ukraine, in the Middle East and so on, and we should be very excited about it. I
think we absolutely should. You'll remember, of course, we had a guy called Malcolm Nance on the show earlier on this evening, or this morning, I should say, who used very, very, what I would call disgraceful terms like concentration camps, you know, said that Donald Trump was a fascist by any other name, and I urged him not to use that kind of language. I said, this is a kind of dangerous language that inflames people, that demonises people like Donald Trump. You won't be surprised to know that since the result has come out, he's tweeted this: "I will fight this tyrant with all of my might." In capital letters. America was born of revolution from a mad king, and so it shall be reborn again. You know, I mean, all this talk of Donald Trump sort of calming the waters and making people work together and forgetting about the divided nature of America. With these crazed Democrats around, it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Well, you can't just do that one-sided, can you? I mean, Donald Trump will send an olive branch all over the place.
Yeah.
As Nigel was saying earlier in your interview, this is a guy who is actually prepared to be pragmatic. People think he's vindictive, and he certainly can be, but he's also mercurial, and I think he's very receptive to flattery. And I think that, if people were just ready to just be graceful about this, accept that he has won a truly remarkable victory. I mean, this is the mother of all comebacks, isn't it? No one in American politics has achieved anything like this since 1892. And again, these are unique circumstances. They threw everything they had at Donald Trump. Another test, actually, for the outgoing Joe Biden administration, what's left of it. Do they now pardon Trump? Because that, again, would look gracious. It would mark a new start in American history, a fresh chapter. I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for that either.
No, I think they're going to be very ungracious. I mean, we saw Biden and his garbage comments. We saw his kind of bizarre behaviour whenever he was asked about Donald Trump. I mean, he clearly hates the man and is largely responsible for the Democrats kind of going doolally about over all of this. And so, I don't think you can come back from calling him Hitler and calling him a fascist and say, oh, I didn't really mean it. Sorry about that. All's well that ends well. Should we just shake on it? Well, I don't think you can do that, can you?
I mean, the rhetoric of some of these people is so absolutely ridiculous. And Nigel said this feels like Brexit.
Yeah.
And I was with Nigel on the night of Brexit, and I know how those of us that campaigned for that felt, how euphoric we were. And of course, it didn't work out in any shape or form as we all expected. But what Nigel meant by that was that there's a sort of feeling of revolution in the air. And as he rightly points out, the implications for governments across Europe are very, very interesting, whether it's the shifting political sands in France, where there's a significant swing to the right, again in Germany. Countries are fed up of porous borders and the implications of the breakdown of national security right across Western Europe. Same in America, how that is changing the face of their country. And they are also fed up of this woke agenda. And it was remarkable how people rallied to Trump from so many different demographics, just completely upending the stereotypes of who supported Trump. Young black men rallying towards Trump because they're sick of the woke agenda as well.
Absolutely right. It's been an incredible campaign, and they've been, I mean, if anybody wanted to study how to win an election, I think this is probably going to be, position A for anybody to have to look at. Isabel, great to see you tonight. Thank you for all the hard work you did. It was a wonderful thing to be with you while this all unfolded, and good to see you because we weren't sure whether we'd be declaring this before the end of this show at the moment today at 10 o'clock.